Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic indie creator interview. It is your Capes Crusader, Cody, and we are keeping it geekly with our brand new friend, Jordan Plosky of Zoop. Thank you so much for stopping by and giving us a breakdown of this brand new crowdfunding platform. You guys just started up June of last year, so congratulations on a year strong.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we're a toddler, 1 year old. So just getting our legs under us, but we're in this world right now.
Yeah, that is so awesome. So exciting. So co-founder and CEO of Zoop. Man, what there's so much to start with. Where do we begin? Let's start with who you are. So how did you get into the comic industry?
I forced my way in. I mean, I always like that saying, you know, whenever someone gets into the industry, right, they find some way in and then they seal it up behind them. Mm-hmm. I think my way was just brute force. So I'll try to keep it like a long story short, but I was in the music industry for about a decade before I got into comics. And at that time, when I was leaving music, I was kind of just in a pivotal moment in my life. You know, I had a child, I was married, I was trying to figure out what was next. And I'm someone that kind of has to always do something that I'm passionate about. I can't just clock into a job and, you know, be miserable every day. That's not me. And when I left music, I was like, well, what else do I love? And the answer was comics. But at that time, I was already like, I'd already passed the threshold of 30. And everyone who had told me like how to break into comics. And by the way, I'm not a writer or an artist. So I was looking to get into like the business side, the marketing side, the biz dev, the administrative side of things. And everyone I spoke to was like, you need to intern. And like I said, I was past 30. I'm not going to intern for anybody. Long story short, I had answered an ad on Craigslist for a company that shall remain nameless, but they were doing basically the Comixology Unlimited model, and this is back in 2013, before Comixology Unlimited came out. So it was like the Netflix for digital comics type of thing. And I was there for a few months, and I was basically building this company for someone else. The two of us had a kind of falling out, and we went our separate ways. And my wife at the time just said, well, why don't you do it yourself? You're already doing it. And the thought had never occurred to me, like to start my own company and to be an entrepreneur. So, you know, I started doing all the market research and looking into comics and what's going on in the industry back in 2013, which is crazy saying 2013 because now that's, you know, 9, almost 10 years ago.
Almost a decade ago.
Yeah, pretty crazy. And wound up forming my own company called Comic Blitz. So that was my first startup in the comic world. And we had licensing agreements with Dynamite, IDW, Zenescope, Aspen Comics. We had over 10,000 comics on the platform. And this was at a time when there were a lot of other startups in that exact space. That Netflix for comics model was very popular. And, you know, pat myself on the back a little bit here. We basically outlasted everybody else in that space, minus Comixology backed by Amazon. But we did wind up with an exit. We sold the company in 2018 to a video distribution company. So they basically looped in the digital comics offering with their streaming platforms and their different channels and stuff like that. So that was really my entry into the industry. I just kind of like forced my way in, and I'm before that, like I said, I was in the music industry, so I was an independent contractor or freelancer, which is very like I understand writers, I understand artists who are always looking for work. You're always hustling, you're always networking, you're always looking for that next paycheck. I was that as well, just in a different industry. So I totally understand the grind and the hustle, and I was very good at it. And that's what made, I think, Comic Blitz succeed in that way, because I met everybody at every publisher. Like now I know everybody in the, you know, everybody in that sort of like business side of the industry. Awesome, so, you know, when we started Zoop, that was very helpful, you know, to sort of have that background and a little bit of, I don't want to say notoriety, but like at least somewhat of a track record in the industry. So we weren't just coming out of nowhere being like, hey, do you want to crowdfund your comics with us? And people being like, who the hell are you? At least I had, you know, that little bit of a background. And my co-founder in this, his name is Eric Moss, he came from IDW Publishing, and he had spent a little bit of time at Cryptozoic Entertainment. But for the purposes of this conversation and for Zoop, he was also the campaign manager on Berserker.
Wow.
So if you're familiar with Berserker, that's the Keanu Reeves, I think they did $1.4 million, the #1 comics crowdfunding campaign of all time. The two of us got together in the summer of 2020 and started working on Zoop because of the pandemic, because stores were closing down, because Diamond shut down. There's a whole upheaval in distribution. AT&T purchased DC and, purchased Warner Brothers that obviously owns DC, slashed their publishing output by 25%. Now, at the time that all of that upheaval was happening, you're seeing huge increases in e-commerce, and Kickstarter was crushing it. Crowdfunding went through the roof, and we saw this as an opportunity and said, crowdfunding is great, Kickstarter is wonderful, but the platform's 10 years old, and there's so many things that we would do to make it different and better. And we just kind of started brainstorming all those things that we would do. And we really came up with, what Zoop had initially launched as you had mentioned, in June of last year. So we started the whole process in 2020. We launched in 2021. We're a year into it now in 2022.
Wow, congratulations again. That is so awesome. Real quick, we have some people over in chat, Calculus, stopping in to say Bonzora. I have no idea what that means, but thank you for stopping in, Calculus. Iktha saying, this is the interview I could not wait to watch and learn more about Zoop. Dang, they're already a year in. We have Edmund stopping in, saying, sup guys, stopping in for a bit. A lot of people interested about learning about Zoop. Edmund saying learn about Zoop as well. Dr. Hino 419, holy crap, I did not expect this much chatter. So Jordan, you have, it sounds like you have just the taste for wanting to get into something and make a name for yourself. Even like with the comic Netflix, there was already a couple people already in the market doing it, but you wanted to get in there and make your name. Like, how did you make those connections? That seems like it would be such a hard endeavor to do.
It all really started like with one connection. Man, all right, so this is like deep dive time, and this is revealing stuff I don't typically reveal. Like, I was a fairly successful musician in the music industry. I wasn't the artist, but I was a hired gun, and I played drums for several different artists. And in 2012, Valiant relaunched, and I saw it on Twitter, and I was like, oh, that was my favorite. Like, that was like one of the things I followed hardcore in like 91, 92, 93 was Valiant Comics. And when I saw it kind of relaunching, sorry everybody who sees me, I'm not picking my nose. I burnt my entire face and everything is peeling. So if you see that, I'm sorry. But so when Valiant relaunched, and Twitter was still like kind of newish, like it was only a couple of years old, and it's not the dumpster fire that it is today. It was actually the place you would go like to find out more about your interests. Like, so when Valiant relaunched, I was like, this is amazing. And I started following them, and I think I said something like, hey, if I wear a Valiant t-shirt in front of a crowd of 10,000 people, will you send me some free stuff? Like, and that's kind of where my relationship actually with Dinesh from Valiant started. We had started going back and forth. I was on tour with a group, and this is going to be a little embarrassing, but maybe some people know this. By the way, I'm not watching the chat, so if you need to cut me off at any time with
you're fine. You're fine. I'm reading chat.
Okay. I was playing drums for a group called Big Time Rush. They were a Nickelodeon band, or like a Nickelodeon boy band kind of, where they had a TV show, and then TV show about being musicians, and then go tour, in support of the album that supported the TV show. It was a whole thing. But we were doing sellout tours. We had the guys from like One Direction opening up for us. We were doing shows with Justin Bieber. Like, it was a big thing.
Wow, that is impressive.
Yeah, look, it's not my kind of music. I see you're all tatted up. It's probably not your kind of music either. But but it was a thing. So sure enough, they sent me a T-shirt. I wore it on stage, and every night with Big Time Rush, we would take a picture in front of the crowd. So they got to see like this picture of me with Big Time Rush in front of 10,000 people. And sure enough, I sent them the picture. They put it up on social media, and then they sent me some hardcover books because they hadn't even started publishing yet. So maybe this is like 2011.
Oh, you got some exclusive from that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, they had some hardcovers of the old stuff of Archer and Armstrong, Exo Manowar, and Harbinger. This is like proof of concept, sort of publishing the stuff, but like it wasn't available for like mass market or anything like that. So I still have those hardcovers. But that also sort of started. I was getting back in at I started like going to the library and getting back into comics because of Valiant. You know, I had a hiatus like many people do. But when Harbinger 1 came out, Josh Dysart lives in, I guess, Southern California. So do I. He was doing a signing at a store for Harbinger 1, and I went, and there was Dinesh and Adam from Valiant.
Oh, wow. This was meant to happen.
And I was like, hey, guys, if you're from Valiant, I'm the guy that wore the shirt on stage. Like, I didn't know that Dinesh was the CEO of Valiant. I didn't know that, like, what Adam's role was. And from there, we just kind of like kept in touch. And when I started Comic Blitz, Dinesh was an advisor, and this is before really like Valiant blew up and everything that happened with him. And now he's got Bad Idea and everything. But he was kind of the one guy that helped me out and made some other introductions to other people in the industry, and it kind of snowballed from there. And me being clearly a talker had no problem, like going to conventions and literally walking up to people, introducing myself. That's like my favorite thing in business, is just doing that and giving the pitch. So, but he was really the first one and opened up, many doors for me. Still a friend today as well.
That is so awesome. And first things first, I don't care what anyone says. If you have the opportunity to play in front of that many people, it doesn't matter what music it is, because like the high you get from being on stage in front of people, let alone so many people you can't count, is like indescribable. Yeah. Like, look,
it's what paid the bills. Like I wasn't, I'm a punk rocker at heart. Like I still listen to Bad Religion on a daily basis, but like, when you're a musician, and look, it's, again, I'll take it back to being a writer or an artist, right? Like you might want to only draw Spider-Man, but if you're offered, I don't know, Avengers West Coast or like Hawkeye, you're still going to do it.
Yeah, you're going to take a paying gig. Yeah.
Yeah. You're doing what you do professionally, and you'll get back to what it is that you love, whether it's, working your way up that ladder or doing some creator owned stuff. It's very similar in that regard.
And it's funny, me being covered in tattoos, not my type of music. I will say I used to be very like deathcore, like heavy metal. I'm at that point where I'm lo-fi hip hop and chill now. So
okay, that's always on in the background. That kind of stuff is always going on in the background when I'm working, just because I can't listen to music with lyrics and be productive at the same time.
There is something about having that background noise, and like if there's words, you like pay attention to it. So I get that. I was going to ask if during your initial meeting, if you would have known that they, that was like the CEO and the other person of importance with Valiant, like would that have made a difference? But you said you were a talker, so I think you would have just took that by, the bull by the horns.
I think, yeah. I mean, I think it was fine. The funny thing is, I mean, I didn't know who was who. And I remember taking the comic that I had just signed by Josh Dysart and handing it to the owner of the store, because I didn't know who he was either, like thinking that he was a part of the creative team or something like that. So that's how little I knew, But now I know that store owner. Now I know Adam. Now I know Dinesh. Yeah. So I guess I'm embedded a little bit now in this world.
Yeah, and I mean, so that brings us to the present day. Here we are with the creation of Zoop. We have some people over on YouTube as well. Ichthus stopping in, fairly successful. How humbling, don't lie to your own success, man. And then also wanting to know why the name Zoop. So I guess, yeah, let's start with that. Why? What drove you to come up with the name Zoop?
Yeah, it's funny that's like such a regular question that I get. I didn't realize it was going to be like such a like drive people weird like that. So I listened to Fat Man Beyond, the Kevin Smith podcast. And he had directed a few episodes of The Flash, and he had told a story on this podcast about how they're going over the script, and in the script it says Barry Zoop's in, Barry Zoop's out, and he asks someone, he's like, what does that mean? What is Barry Zoop's? what does that mean? And they explain, it's like, well, whenever he comes in, we put the special effects on to make it look like he's running fast, or whatever. Like it really didn't mean anything, but that was part of the beauty of the word, is like, I really liked the nerdy deep dive. I love that it had something to do with the Flash and something to do with Kevin Smith and podcasts and TV and comics. Like, I don't know, it seemed like this word that was cool and unique but didn't mean anything. And for me, that's perfect, because business lesson, Comic Blitz totally pigeonholed us. We couldn't do anything but comics, without having to maybe rename it. Zoop, to me, leaves the doors open for possibilities that we would like to explore. So whether that means something other than comics or something other than crowdfunding, we have the opportunity to grow and explore some other things and still keep it geekly. Hey.
You are growing on me by the second, Jordan. Dang, was not expecting that one. Shoo. So this Zoop, as it stands right now, is a platform exclusively for comic crowdfunding, though. What drove you guys to go with that direction? I know Kickstarter had a huge deal with Berserker and just the success they had over the years. But what drove you to kind of want to get into the playing field and do it differently?
I think the thing that we kind of saw, like I mentioned earlier, were like the holes in the model. I think that while Kickstarter is great, and if you're entrepreneurial enough, you can take advantage of the system and have it work for you. But what we kind of saw was, well, there's all these creators who are out there maybe working for Marvel, DC, we can go down the line, Image, Dark Horse, IDW, but Boom, like everybody, that maybe have a story to tell, but they don't have the time to run a campaign, because everybody says running a campaign is a full-time job. So that's the 1 month during the campaign. What about setting up the campaign? What about afterwards, when you have to actually print it and fulfill it? Fulfillment is like that's the bane of crowdfunding, right? You see some campaigns that go unfulfilled or are late because people need to figure that out. We just figured, well, what if we're a turnkey solution? What if we're the platform, but we're also all those different pieces, that make it as easy as possible to just run a crowdfunding campaign from start to finish. And that was the first model of Zoop, was doing it all in one platform. So campaign management, marketing, printing services, and fulfillment services on top of, and like the pledge management services and budgeting and strategy and, booking interviews on podcasts and YouTube shows and things like that, trying to get press and reviews of the content, putting the page together for people. And realistically, like if you're going at it alone, it takes potentially weeks or months of, researching, sourcing, vetting, negotiating with a printer, figuring out if someone is willing to take you on, from a fulfillment house. If you're just one campaign of, maybe 200 or 300 pieces that have to go out, that might not meet like a minimum requirement, for a fulfillment house to kind of take you on. Then that leaves you doing it yourself potentially. And if the space is prohibitive that you live in or whatever, like there's a lot of things that work against people from even like getting into crowdfunding. If you kind of line it all up, if any of those pieces don't work out for you, then it might be very difficult to even launch a campaign. And that's kind of where we came from. We also saw, though, how not intuitive the current systems are on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. We don't even have to get into like the political divide. We're not involved in that. Nobody's like painted us one way or the other at this point. I think it's safe to say that we lean we're allies. We're very LGBTQ friendly, female friendly. We're not going to have anything racist or hurtful on our platform or hateful on our platform. I can leave it at that. At that, I think is good enough. But we also saw, in putting together a Kickstarter campaign, for example, and putting together the reward tiers, that could take so much time, because you have to figure out what's going to go into the first bundle, the second bundle, the third bundle. Then there's, the possibility that a supporter can't get everything that they want. They have to wait for the backer kit campaign or, some other secondary type of campaign to get their add-ons. With us, we've made checkout more a la carte, more like Amazon Prime, where you can just go to the page and say, oh, I want 2 of those, I want 1 of those, throw it into your cart and check out and get everything that you want without having to wait for a secondary campaign. There's no surveys, there's no, backing the campaign, and then two or 3 months later, they're asking for your credit card again for shipping fees. Everything is done through the main campaign. So we think that it's a lot easier, more streamlined and efficient for creators, but also just a better user experience for backers as well. Once you're signed up, you put in your information, it's all there, as opposed to having to continually do this every time you want to back a campaign 2 times.
Yeah. I think you're really hitting the nail on the head there, because that happens all the time. I'll check my email and I'm like, did I already pay for this project? I got to pay like more now? Like, what's going on? Like, so let me ask you this though. How many campaigns have you guys, successfully had funded on the platform so far?
Ooh, let me pull this up. All right. Because I know
I want to say I seen 40, but I wasn't sure if that was a current number, like as it stands right now.
So we've run 47, and as of right now, I want to say 42 have been successful, 3 are still open. So yeah, I mean, we're at roughly like 89-90% success rate.
So how many of those campaigns did you guys set up all those campaigns, or a chunk of them?
Yeah, so that's a good segue into the Kickstarter sort of debacle of December 2021 when they announced they were moving to blockchain. So what happened there and how that affected us was when they made this announcement that they were moving to blockchain, clearly the comics creator community was very upset by that announcement and that movement, and people were abandoning ship. Now, it was always on our product roadmap in the future for us to open up the platform to everybody, mm-hmm. and offer, and not do the full service, but offer like a more apples to apples Kickstarter type experience, right? Where we're the platform and we do the credit card processing and people can run their own campaigns. Well, that Kickstarter announcement really made us have to jump the gun into that. So we do now offer our full service model and then our sort of the basic model, the standard model, if you will. But with that standard model, we're still hands-on with every single campaign. We still have to set up every campaign page. We're still handling, we're still hands-on, we still offer support. And one of the cool things is that we actually promote every single campaign that's on the platform, versus having to, beat some sort of algorithm to get 2 days of Project We Love,
mm-hmm.
features on the homepage while you're still competing with like 200 other campaigns that are live at the same time as you. With us, we have about 8 to 10 at max running. And like I said, everybody gets featured on the homepage. Everybody is in all of our marketing materials. So that's email marketing, social media. But so this is a really long answer for, yes, anybody can run a campaign on Zoop right now. You just email us at hello@wearezoop.com and we check out the material that you're looking to put up on the platform. And like I said earlier, as long as it's not hateful towards anyone, it's not misogynistic, transphobic, homophobic, you're not hurting anybody with your messages. Art's subjective, so we're not going to say what's good or not. That's not up for us. We're not publishers. We're not going to give editorial, but at the same time, we want to see people succeed. Cody, I do want to say one other thing as well. We make the rules, just because there's like an established way that other platforms do something doesn't mean that we have to adhere to those rules. And what I mean by that, mm-hmm. is if a campaign needs a little extra love, needs a little help in order to succeed, we have flexibility. We could add rewards, we could remove rewards, we could change pricing, we can change the goal, we could extend the campaign. Our goal is to help these creators succeed. 30
that
days
is awesome.
That's an arbitrary number.
Yeah.
Who cares? Hey, we want to create a sense of urgency. We want to collect the money so that we can go into production. But if we need to extend that campaign, because that'll mean that a creator is going to succeed as a result, there's no reason not to. Just because, they don't do it on other places doesn't mean that we can't do it.
No, I love that. I love that a lot.
Thanks, man.
Real quick, we have Ichthus over in YouTube. Man, who doesn't like Kevin Smith? That's a really cool insight behind the name. J. Michael Miller stopping by saying to ask, how dedicated is Zoop to maintaining creator relationships? So a question from the chat for you.
Yeah, I mean, look, the way that we see this is we don't want to just do one campaign with someone. We want to be their home for every campaign that they do from here on out. We've had a lot of people who have come from Kickstarter, and I hope that we get to keep them, for their future campaigns as well. So I don't know how much more to answer on that. It's we just hope to continue to let people run successful campaigns, continue to make money so that they could put their books out, continue to grow their fan bases, come back and continue doing it.
No, absolutely. So, I mean, right now, relatively a year into it, you said you had roughly about 8-10 campaigns running at any given time. What 5 years from now, what are the operations looking like when you have 20 to 30 or 40? Are you still able to maintain that level of focus on projects? How are you going to be able to maintain managing them as well if you guys are still offering that business model?
Yeah, I think it's just about growing the team at that point and building out the technology that helps make us more efficient. Those are the things that we're looking at right now, is figuring out, all right, how much, how do we build more technology for the platform that makes it easier for us to handle more and more campaigns as we grow. We never want to lose the level of support that we give to the individual campaigns. I think that that's one of the things that helps differentiate us from other platforms out there. I'm sure anybody who's run a campaign, I shouldn't say anybody. The majority of people who run campaigns on Kickstarter probably have never spoken to somebody at Kickstarter. If you run a campaign on Zoop, that means that you've spoken to me and my co-founder.
That's really cool.
So you're talking to the people who are actually running the company versus like you don't even have a point of contact at the other place. So if there's troubleshooting, if there's questions, if there's support, if there's things that you need, we are human beings here to help, because again, it's all about the success of the creators.
And having that ability and opportunity to talk to the creators firsthand when normally you wouldn't be provided that opportunity with a different platform, that's awesome. I love that, the extra level you guys are willing to go to maintain that relationship. So real quick, before we take a look at the website, what's like, I guess, a basic idea of setting up a campaign on Zoop looking like? Like, let's say I was a creator coming to run a campaign for the first time on your platform. How would that process look like for me?
Yeah, so, if you go to the website, we have a submit your project link, and that kind of walks people through explaining like, hey, so we take 10%, but that includes the credit card processing fees. Now, that's typically going to be about 1% or so more than what you would pay out to Kickstarter, for example. But because you're getting that level of support, because we're also helping with some basic strategy and funding goals and putting together the page, and also we help track down delinquent backers at the end of the campaign as well. And without the need of having to give up an additional percentage to backer kit, we kind of feel that, all right, for that extra 1%, you're getting a lot for that. Plus, you don't have to budget for something. You don't have to budget for a variable. You budget a flat 10% versus I don't know if it's going to be 8.5 or 9.5%, and then you're screwed at the end. It's like, no, exactly up front what you should be budgeting for. All that being said, we kind of spell that out on the Zoop page where it says, I think it's zoop.com/submit your project. But if you just go to, and I even gave the wrong URL, zoop.gg, excuse me. It's not zoop.com, zoop.gg. If you just go to the homepage, you'll see, there's a link in the header for submitting your project, and it kind of walks you through. But basically, email us with a little bit about your project at hello@wearezoop.com. That one is a .com, and we kind of go from there. People have submitted, just a script, some art, some character design. Some people have full books that are done, and then we kind of just have a conversation about, hey, when are you looking to launch? What's your goal? We discuss the importance of how are you going to promote this. And Cody, I do always like explaining this part. Whether you run a campaign on Zoop or whether you run a campaign on Kickstarter, in crowdfunding, you, the creator, bring the crowd.
Yeah.
There's not a platform that's going to do it for you. I'm sorry to burst anyone's bubble if you think that just because you wind up on Kickstarter or come to Zoop that, all the marketing and outreach is going to be done for you. That's not how it works. A lot of the legwork for a crowdfunding campaign is done before the campaign even launches.
Mm-hmm.
And email is king. It still is better than social media and Twitter and Instagram and, you know, all of that combined. Email is the primary, that's the gold when it comes to marketing for crowdfunding. So you definitely want to build up an email list or a newsletter, any way that you're collecting people's email addresses and gaining interest in you as a creator, in your project. You want to build all of that up before you even think about launching a campaign. Platforms like Zoop and Kickstarter, we can add icing to that cake. You know, we can embellish that user base, that backer list by 10 to 20%. That, you know, we have the data for that, but we cannot solely fund your campaign.
Yeah.
So
I think that's, you know, a lot of people don't realize, like on Kickstarter, for example, the people that have the following, they're coming from like 3 campaigns. You know, it's a following from multiple campaigns, not just like them like getting it solely funded from Kickstarter off their first issue. They've ran multiple campaigns, and so speaking of that, I think that's a perfect segue. What sort of algorithm are we looking at for multiple campaigns on Zoop? Like, let's say you have a success, I cannot word tonight. A successful issue number 1. You come back for issue number 2. You know, are you guys reaching out to people who previously backed? You know, what's that looking like for creators coming back?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we have, you know, with every campaign that we run, our email list is growing. So the reach that we have as a company to market this material grows, you know, substantially. So like we do a campaign like Comics for Ukraine, for example, that did, you know, over $150,000 and had, you know, 1,100 backers or something like that. You know, now that's 1,100 new people that we could potentially reach out to. Shouldn't say 1,100. We do have repeat backers as well, people who have backed multiple projects, multiple campaigns. But like realistically, you know, every campaign brings another few hundred people to the platform. So we are growing. I mean, we have a really nice user base right now that we do market to. And if we, you know, we can specify, you know, people who have backed this might like something like this, or let's reach out to this, you know, the people who back this campaign because this new campaign is really geared towards, you know, the same type of thing. So we have that ability and we use it.
Yeah, no, that is awesome. I wanted to make sure I asked that question because I myself am not a writer or artist. I'm just a podcaster, but I do, you know, I've interviewed a lot of creators, and I know, you know, stuff like this is always kind of an important question to ask. You know, obviously, we're breaking this down for them to watching and get more, knowledge about and to make a better choice about. So I want to make sure I'm asking these questions for their sake too. So I appreciate that answer. Let's go ahead actually and pull up the website and look at it together. So do you guys have like any sort of like iOS or Google Android app, or is it just a website as of right now?
Yeah, we're just a website right now. I mean, in anyone that I've ever spoken to, I've never heard someone tell me that they use the Kickstarter app or the Indiegogo
I've never
app.
used it.
Yeah, we're just like, I guess we don't really need to spend tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars on an app. I mean, you know, you go to zoop.gg on your phone or your desktop, you're going to have a wonderful experience no matter what. I don't think an app really is going to be able to enhance anything like that. But if you look on the top there, like I said, it says submit your project. That's where you could find more information about like how you could run a campaign with us on Zoop.
All right, so we'll take a look over here. We have Matt J. Rainwater. If I were particular about how I wanted my book printed, grade of stock, trade or hardback, etc., is that within the framework of Zoop's model, or is it one size fits all?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I mean, we've done everything from single issues all the way up to oversized artist edition 11 by 17 hardcover books and everything in between, graphic novels, standard size hardcovers. We've even done, we did a puzzle for the Rocketeer.
Oh yeah, I seen that. That was really cool.
Yeah, so we worked with Band of Bards to do what's called an American light novel. So not quite a comic book, but also not quite a novel, sort of like a, you know, traditional publishing with a little bit of sequential work. So, you know, yes, predominantly comics. And Cody, to answer your question from earlier, is because of my background and my co-founder's background that we started in comics, but there really is anything that works in the geek space, you know, in the fandom space, in the collector space, the people who are going to Comic Cons and, you know, that love this kind of stuff. That's like really where we live. we're having a conversation. Yeah, we're having a conversation about another novel that's coming up. We're having conversations about toys and collectibles. So,
oh, that's going to be really cool.
Yeah, but it all fits under this, this umbrella of like our geek world. So,
I mean, you keep emphasizing that geek. You got me fanboying over here.
I'll replace every time I say geek with geekly, and then you're really going to lose it. So.
Oh, man. So here's how to submit a project. I know we were talking about it earlier, but now that we got the visual, kind of just get a look. First step is the email. And then I love how you guys review it as a team. So that you were talking about that earlier, but I think that is really cool how you as a team go over it, and then you reach out to the person individually and kind of like go over it together. I think that right there is what separates you from the rest, because I don't think that's anything that's done like with any of the other platforms.
Well, the weird thing is that I was just seeing this thing where, man, I don't even know if I'm going to explain this correctly, but like if there's a live campaign that's going and someone else is submitting the same exact campaign and like stealing the funds, I don't know if you saw this.
Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah. So because I don't know what that means for their approval process, and why for some people it can take days or weeks to get approved, and other people they're approved in like 24 hours. With us, we get an email. We try to get back to people as soon as possible, at least within 24 to 48 hours. Like we try to be respectful of people's time. We have other things on our plate as well, but we try to get back to everybody quickly. And then we start that dialogue, and we explain like, hey, this is what we need. We set up a shared Google Drive folder, so that people can drop their assets, which is, the art stuff, the reward information about their campaign, about them as creators. We put all that up into the campaign page, and then we're off and running. So it's you have support. You have someone who's like working with you on this. You're not having to learn a new technology, making sure that you did everything right. If you misspelled something, we'll fix it. If something was mistakenly priced or the price needs to change, we'll change it. You're not locked in. We're not as rigid, and yeah, the approval process I think is a lot easier with us, and it's at least a lot more transparent. You're not like just sitting there wondering, did they see it, when is it going to happen? We try to work a little ahead of schedule so that no one's like, oh, we want to launch tomorrow. It's like, well, that's your problem, man. Like that's we're not here like to break our neck because you failed to plan, but like, we just try to plan ahead a little bit and accommodate people who have, realistic launch dates that they're looking at.
Oh, absolutely. Give me a second real quick too. I just noticed it's because we opened up a brand new window. I got to add that window instead. StreamYard working against us here.
Oh, were we lagging or something?
No, we weren't lagging at all. It had the homepage of Zoop opened. It's because the submission it opens up a brand new page. I had to add a brand new page.
Oh.
But no, so all I could do is just I'll just edit this page in, so no one post production, no one's ever gonna know. So everyone who's watching, you guys get a little special treat. So let me pull this back up. Now it's all fixed right now.
Yeah, my face is just itching everywhere. The ears are the worst, man. Sunburn is no joke.
So my daughter has albinism, and we deal with that. If we don't hit her with sunscreen in ample amounts, she gets sunburned. And we are busting out the what is it? Oh,
dude, I've got
aloe vera
butter here. Yeah. Gel.
Yeah.
I've got cocoa butter, coconut oil. I got some Vaseline for my lips, which I'm gonna go ahead right now.
My man is prepared for it over there.
No, so, it's not that I'm prepared. I'm suffering. I'm trying to make it stop.
So it was interesting that you brought that up, because that was something like I got to see that firsthand. It was something where I was on Twitter. We were talking about how like Twitter, it's a dumpster fire, but it is good for catching things like right when it's happening. And I remember like the day it happened, they like someone tagged, and they're like, "Yo, like it was a big campaign. I think it was a $13,000 goal, and the other campaign made $2,000 at that point." Now I think they had a contingency. I think it was one of those things where Kickstarter doesn't take the funds until it's completed. But that raises the question: what if someone would not have caught that? That is such. Yeah, it is really. I'm very curious on what their vetting process is, because that definitely fell through the hole, and it was one of those things too where they were quick to respond, but I don't know if it was like the necessary channels were able to do anything fast enough, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, look, yeah, I don't know the ins and outs of that. I probably shouldn't comment on like what's going on over there, but I just know that it happened because it was made public, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I just know that it can't happen with us because we're hands-on with every campaign. We're not going to be like, oh, someone else is running Axe Wielder John. Like, no, you're not Nick Pizzara. Like, you know, we're gonna catch that. You know, we know every person that we're running a campaign with right now.
So right here, this is what we were talking about earlier, right? And the transparency, like you were saying too, you guys are fully transparent. So what's it cost? Let's get to that. For the campaigns like this, it's a flat fee of 10% of the campaign funds. And then this is a look at some of the services you guys are going to provide. I really like the credit card processing fee, the weight-based shipping calculator. You guys are offering a lot of cool things. You know, the fielding inquiries at wearezoop.com.
Oh, yeah. So it's funny. My co-founder Eric, he would probably like be mad at me for not mentioning the weight-based shipping calculator, but this is really it's a really important feature so that you don't have to figure out like what the shipping is going to be. You basically tell us what these products are, we'll assign weights, and then we have a matrix that kind of spits back out what the proper pricing should be for shipping in the US, shipping internationally. So, you know, it's a really useful tool as opposed to, you know, playing a guessing game or having to go to BackerKit for it. And that itself is worth, you know, a lot of time, effort and anxiety for a lot of people. The other thing that you just pointed out, and I forget because but we have no comments on our campaign pages, and that's by design. We've realized that like 85 to 90% of all comments on most Kickstarters are just trash. Yeah. You know, and like not worthwhile. They're not actual questions. They're not actual input. They're just people, you know, with their worst impulses, and you could get plenty of that on social media. So we didn't feel that we needed to add to that. If people have legitimate questions, you know, we have contact information on the pages. It comes to us, and we handle that. So with I also like that you guys reach out to like people who are delinquent about surveys. I am like the biggest culprit about that. I don't mean to either. It's just one of those things where I rarely, you know, I'm trying to get better about checking my emails, but I rarely check them. So like I'll log in and I'll see I have like 6 missed surveys, and I'm like, no. Like, so what are you guys doing to kind of ensure like that process goes a lot smoother for creators? Well, like I said, we don't do the surveys because we don't have to wait until after the campaign.
That's true.
Yeah, during the main campaign, we collect everyone's shipping information and credit card information for the shipping fees. So that does away with a lot of what we need to talk to people about after the campaign. Now there's going to be those special circumstances where if we have like a t-shirt size that we need to collect from someone, or if someone's getting a commission, what character would you like, you know, that kind of stuff. But we just either, if it's a campaign that we're running, we reach out directly to the backer, or we just have the creator who's running the campaign reach out directly. So you're not going through a service for that portion of it, but now what you're doing is you're establishing a one-on-one connection with this backer, you know, that may have questions or have specific things that they're looking for, and you know, we see that as a good thing.
No, I think that is awesome too. And I also noticed too the email blasting. So if you had to take a guess, like how big is your email blasting list as of right now, if you're allowed to give a number?
I am not allowed to give a number.
No, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
But like I said, it's growing just about every day. So yeah.
No, that is cool. I really liked how you guys did the Ukraine charity project as well. I'm always a big fan of charities like that. We were talking about Twitch streaming earlier, and a big thing for me, like the funky hair colors. I used to do a lot of charity drives myself, and I did one for the Ukraine charity relief as well. So anytime I see something like that, I always love seeing when platforms are willing to help like a cause. Like that's something cool, because I don't think I've seen that from any of the other platforms either.
You know, we've done a couple so far. The Ukraine one, we did one for John Paul Leone, who is, you know, I would say a world-class artist, you know, mostly over at DC, did a lot of Batman stuff, did the Earth X stuff at Marvel, but he had a creator-owned book called The Winter Men that came out through Wildstorm, and that's what the Artist Edition book was. When he passed away last year, that campaign, realistically, like just about 100% of all the funds raised of that $190,000 is going to his family. Because he passed away way too young, and this is for his daughter's college fund. So we've done that one, the corkscrew crane. We did one to protect trans kids. There were some enamel pins that we did. That was a smaller one, but it was in reaction to the laws being passed in Texas about trans kids and just transgender people as a whole. So all the money from that, except for the money that it costs to make the pins, is going to an organization in Texas to help protect trans kids. So yeah, we're always up for more stuff like that as well.
I always love to see when platforms are willing to go to bat for people too, and creators. Like that is so awesome. That's so awesome. Let me go ahead. We're gonna remove this and we're gonna pull up the homepage again.
Sure.
Just take a look at that real quick.
And
Sorry
you can
about
scroll
that.
down. Oh no, not at all. And you can scroll down on the homepage as well. You see the featured carousel, but then you'll see all the other live projects as well right underneath.
So right here is the home screen. So we see Groom Lake. So is this how was this chosen to be on the cover? I guess the front page. Like, what is your process for that?
We don't really have a process other than this is one that we were working on with Chris Ryle. He was from IDW Publishing. He had just put out, I guess the full title is Joe Hill's Reign, through his imprint at Image called Syzygy Publishing. So this is just one that we have our hands on a little bit more. So this is going to be, like front and center right now. Plus it needs a little bit of extra love in its final few days. This is going to be a tough one. I mean, we'll see what happens here. But a lot of times, typically we have campaigns up on this main carousel on their first 2 days, their last 2 days. And then otherwise, if you scroll down, here's a list of all of our active projects right now. I think we have another one launching tomorrow, more next week. But like I said, everything is always going to be seen on this homepage right here.
It looks like you have a decent amount coming soon too.
Yeah, it's because I said, like, we have our hands on every campaign. We're still out there, like, doing outbound sort of recruiting as well as getting some inbound people as well. But what that means is that everybody gets a chance to shine. So a lot of these campaigns, something like Moistly Harmless, for example, I think did like $17,000 or something like that. Almost Real, that you see right there, I want to say did $42,000.
Wow.
Now those guys, this is a great case study. If you click in, I think you'll be able to see. So, but you can see this was volume 5, which means that they ran $44,000. They did four campaigns before this on Kickstarter. Their highest Kickstarter was something like $27,000 or $29,000. So the fact that we did, about $15,000 more than their highest Kickstarter, I think helps prove the model that, hey, if you migrate over, your fans, your backers will come with you as long as you are doing the promotion properly.
848 supporters too. That is outstanding. Like, that is, they did not have any sort of fan base or any sort of consumer base on Zoop, and they almost had 850 supporters. Like, that's proof in the pudding right there. Let's take a look actually at this. So you guys had hands-on creation with the creators for this, like helping them design this?
Nope, we were not really familiar with them at all, and that's not saying anything about them. But they had come to us because of the whole Kickstarter blockchain thing, and we saw what they had done on Kickstarter. We're like, we'd be happy to do it, and we were hoping that we would make as much as their biggest Kickstarter, but this one kind of blew it out of the water for them.
Yeah,
so
killed it.
We just finished up another campaign with a creator named Shannon Garrity. She's going to be a special guest at Comic-Con this year. Her and her partner have a webcomic called Skin Horse, and we just ran a campaign for Skin Horse volume 11 and 12, and we were $500 short of being their #1 campaign as well, out of like 7 or 8 campaigns. So
wow.
So that's the thing, I think that one was maybe around $29,000, or maybe we did 28 and change, and their biggest one had done 29. over on Kickstarter. But the fact that we beat out 8 other of their other campaigns that they've already run, plus what we're seeing here on Almost Real, I think really goes to show, platform's a platform, and I'm not trying to take anything away from us in particular, but if you have a fan base, you can bring them on over to Zoop and do just as well, if not even better.
So one thing I really like too is, when we first look at it, my biggest thing, like with Kickstarter, is there's so much scrolling. Like right off the rip, you get the meat. Like right off the rip, you get what it's about, what it is, its funding goal, and then right here. But then we can look at the details, and that gives us like the other parts of it, the introduction, the visuals of it. I really like how it's done up in these sections too. The user experience just seems like it's really easy. It's really nice. It's a good organic feeling. What all went into the creative design of this?
Well, these guys did a lot of the creative, like what you're seeing with the fonts and the graphics and stuff.
Oh, no, I meant on the side,
sorry.
like your guys' part in this, like how you guys design like the sidebar and everything, like the details, the intro.
Sure. That's as fans, as supporters ourselves, we just kind of made the changes that we thought we would want to see, on other platforms where there's no images when you're looking at a reward tier, right? Like, don't you want to see what it is that you're going to buy without having to like try to find it somewhere else on the page? So we're like, all right, the rewards are the first thing that you need to see, right? Now, there's going to be some other, add-ons. Maybe it's like stickers and patches and prints where it's like, we want you to purchase the main product, which is usually going to be a book or something like that, before you're allowed to purchase any add-ons. Okay, purchase any reward that unlocks the add-ons for you, right? So you make it easy enough for people to click a reward, add it to their cart, click any add-ons that they want, add it to their cart. But we thought it was important to show images of what the rewards were and to make that the first thing that you see. It's important for videos, for there to be all of this information, but to be easily found. I think on Kickstarter it's a little difficult sometimes to find the information that you're looking for.
And I am a sucker for timelines and stuff like this. Like this is so nice. I was checking it out while you were kind of giving us that breakdown, and I just love how you can do the continuous scroll, or you can click right here and it's going to take you right there. And I think that's another awesome feature that really you'd be surprised at how much people love that thing and eat it up. Like this is awesome. The user experience is just phenomenal. It seems like you guys really focused on the experience for not only the creator but the consumer as well.
Well, yeah, because we want people to enjoy it and have a good time, and we knew that we were fighting an uphill battle of people, just even signing up for a new platform or a new site. That is a bit of a roadblock for some people. So, if we can make it as easy and intuitive as possible, where when you click on a reward, it adds right into your cart, just like you're on Amazon, for example. And I hate that I keep using that, but I know everybody knows how the Amazon interface works. You click something and then you'll see the 1, the 2, the 3, on your cart. And you click that cart, you check out. Click on Skin Horse right there.
Skin Horse? Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so we did 28.9. I think their highest funded was 29.5, for example. So the fact that we came within fighting distance of their number 1 campaign, out of 7 or 8 campaigns, like I said, and we beat out the other 6 or 7 campaigns that they've run. I think that just goes to show that yes, you can come to Zoop and you can be successful. And whatever that success means to you, based, comparing to your other campaigns that you've run in the past.
Oh yeah, I think if anyone was on the fence about leaving Kickstarter, Indiegogo for fear of losing that momentum, I think this is like, once again, proof in the pudding that it doesn't matter. As long as you have, as long as they follow you, like you're going to hit those numbers over here too.
Yeah, we're really proud of these 2 campaigns in particular for that reason, and we're happy to be able to point to them. Shannon is going to be on a panel with us at San Diego Comic-Con. So I'm sure if she was not happy with her experience, she wouldn't be on a panel. So
yeah. So real quick, before we begin wrapping things up, was there anything else that we didn't get a chance to look at that you wanted to kind of spotlight while we were here?
I don't necessarily know about, on the platform. I mean, we have some upcoming things, as you can see. Dan Panosian is doing an art book with us. That's going to be launching later this month. Brian Talbot, who's worked on, Sandman in 2000 AD, and like, I mean, the guy, it says there, the father of the British graphic novel. I mean, he's been around for a long time, has established a tremendous fan base around the world. Man, we have some things that are coming up that I think people are really going to be talking about. I just can't talk about them just yet.
Oh, I get it. And that's the worst, isn't it? You're so hyped and you want to. It's like, man,
yeah,
when the day comes.
I've learned, though. But look, we have a diverse roster. I mean, we've done stuff, with people who have comics on webtoons. Like I said, the LGBTQ community, we're all for, everyone having a voice and coming to Zoop and being able to, share their voice and share their stories. Mature content is fine. Just like I said, just as long as it's nothing hateful towards any group or minority, we're happy to have it. We love the support that people give these creators, because again, it's all about supporting them and making sure that they could put out the work that they want to put out. And following them on their journeys from maybe their first campaign to their 10th or 12th or to their TV show, or whatever it's going to be. I think that's kind of part of the excitement in finding and discovering cool new stuff and watching writers grow and artists grow from, from series to series or issue to issue, whatever it is.
It's crazy to see like where I remember, I think it was the interview 15 with Daniel Kalban of Night Wrath. His artist went on to work for Exile, the Wesley Snipes comic. And it's like,
that's
dude,
cool.
It's like, holy crap. Like, that is like insane. Like, we were just talking about his art and like now he's like doing that for Wesley Snipes. Like, holy crap. So real quick, we have Matt J. Rainwater. I don't know why I said J. Water. Zoop is on my list for a future project for sure. This seems like a highly competitive alternative to the Kickstarter model. And then we'll be funding the Brian Talbot book for sure. Yeah, that book looks awesome.
Matt, sign up on the pre-launch page. Drop your email. You'll be notified when we go live and get those early bird specials, my friend.
All right. So since we went over Zoop, let's go ahead. We'll begin wrapping things up. So real quick, Jordan, what's next for Zoop? Any cool things that maybe you could talk about a little bit, or any interesting developments that are maybe in the plans? Like, where are you guys heading next?
Sorry, you cut out for a second. Anything we can talk about? And then what was the second part?
Sorry. I was like, oh man, he's really thinking about this for a long time. Now that we took a look at the website and had a good idea of how it operates, what's next for you guys? Anything, like any interesting developments that you can talk about? I know, if you can't, we understand that, but any little bits here.
Just some exciting, upcoming campaigns. One other thing that we've gotten into that people maybe know about or not is we're working with Jonathan Hickman for his Substack.
Okay.
Because if you're familiar with Substack, what they are is an email newsletter, basically. So all the content that you get through that service is digital. So we're helping with the printing and fulfillment of physical rewards for those subscribers to his Substack. So
that's
people
really
who
cool.
Subscribe to the 3 Worlds, 3 Moons, with Jonathan Hickman, it's Mike Del Mundo, Mike Huddleston, excuse me. There are people who sign up for the premium levels there, and we're going to help with the printing and fulfillment, which is, kind of like what we do for our campaigns, except we're just going to kind of slide it over here for Substack. And we may be doing more of that with Substack. Like I said, there's more campaigns that are on the horizon that I can't announce just yet. We might have some announcements at San Diego and coming out of San Diego. But a lot of exciting stuff coming up real soon. and we could always talk again when those things happen, Cody.
Ooh, okay, yeah. We'll put a pin in it. So let's finish strong. So for anyone that is on the fence about making the change over to Zoop, whether it's from Kickstarter, Indiegogo, crowdfunder, anything, what would you like to say to them directly if you had the opportunity to kind of just get a message out to them?
Yeah, man, just hit us up. Email us at hello@wearezoop. Let's start the conversation. Let's figure out how we can support you. Let's get your book out into the world. I don't know, what the level of support is over at crowdfunder. I'm glad that there's more people that are stepping into the space, because I think a rising tide floats all boats, and I wish everyone their success as well. But yeah, man, I mean, we're sort of like a built-in team, that built-in support system. We're not running the day-to-day stuff with you, but we're there if you need us, And as you can see, the proof is in the pudding. If you watch this video, you see, hey, there are creators who have made that leap from other platforms to Zoop and are crushing it. So, if you need insight, which I think you're not really getting from other platforms either, if you need just like some tips and advice on what to do, how to do it, hit us up. We're at hello@wearezoop.com is the email. On all of our social media, it's @wearezoop. So Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and I think even YouTube maybe, @wearezoop. Hit us up at any of those places, and we'd love to have a conversation. We'd love to host your campaign. And if you're a backer, it takes less than 30 seconds to input your information and your credit card. I hope that that's not too much of a roadblock for some people. These creators are really looking for your support. So come on over. Check out the campaigns that we have running. Please support whichever ones you think look cool. And I think that's as much shilling as I could do, Cody. Yeah, no, I love it. I appreciate it. Well, Jordan, anytime we end these podcasts, we always end it with one piece of advice from the creator. And usually, it's a comic creator. But even with you creating a whole crowdfunding platform, I'm sure this piece of advice you could offer is going to be just as good. So for anyone that's just kind of hesitant or having trouble with just getting started with whatever they're doing, whether it's creating a comic book or creating a platform to crowdfund a comic book, what sort of advice would you give them to kind of just get going, to get over that barrier of not being able just to do it? So I love some of the discourse that I see on social media where it's, if you're drawing a comic, you're in comics. If you're writing a comic, you're in comics. How do you get into comics? Make a comic. That's it, right? Don't talk about it. Be about it. When I was drumming, flat out, I wasn't the best drummer, but I got out there and I networked. And the advice I would give to other drummers is, it doesn't matter how good you are at what you do. If you don't leave the basement, no one will ever know. That's good. So get out there, promote yourself, because nobody else is going to do it for you. You have to be your own promotional tool, your own promotional machine. If you don't have a publisher behind you, if you don't have a support system, be your own support system. Start your own publishing company. When you're in a creative field, unfortunately, you also have to be able to promote yourself, market yourself, make a name for yourself. I'm not saying to do anything crazy, but go to shows, shake hands, meet people, network, talk to people online if they'll talk to you. So the creative part, absolutely important. But all that other stuff, I've always found, is just as important. And don't overlook it. It could be the difference between a successful career or not. No, absolutely. And just hearing your beginnings, and how your networking led to this, it's remarkable. Jordan, thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to hang out with us, to break down Zoop, what it's about, and just give us a better understanding of what you guys are doing with the indie community. This was such an awesome chat. I really appreciate it. Hey, like I said at the beginning, I appreciate you having me on, man. Very much so. And we'll do it again soon. No, absolutely. Guys, if you are watching, thank you so much for watching this far, for keeping it active and hyped in chat. I had such an awesome time. I hope you guys have a fantastic Tuesday night. Most importantly, though, keep it geekly.